Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm creating this really different cut crease look. So I have got some yellow liner going on, and I've also got a green lower lash line, which is totally different than things that I normally do on my channel. But I really like the way that it turned out, so I hope that you guys liked it too. If you did, make sure to just go ahead and keep on watching. Okay, so today I'm starting by priming my eyes with the ColourPop No Filter Concealer, and then I'm going to blend that out with the JH03 brush. At first step, I definitely want to prime the eyes, so I think I'm going to be using the James Charles palette. Okay, so I think first I'm going to take this shade right here, which is called Punch Me, and I am going to take that on my JH32 brush. And I think I'm going to do a cut crease today, so I want to focus this right in the crease and try not to bring it down too far onto the lid. This is like the perfect brush for blending out a cut crease before you actually cut it, because it's a little bit more like pointed, so it can really get in there and give you like that sharp line that you want, and then you just go ahead and clean up the like underneath edge after you're done blending it out. I think I'm going to go in, like you can see, with kind of a wing shape today. So that is the reason why I'm kind of dragging out the shadow. These sides don't have to be completely perfect, just because you are going to go back through with some other shades and then clean up the bottom edge. But I want to get that shape as perfect as I can, just so that we don't have to go in and clean up too much on the top. So once I've got a little something like this, I think I'm going to go in with this shade right here, which is Code James. And I'm going to use the same brush that we were just using, the JH32, and same thing, just pick that up and put that basically right over what we were just doing. I do want this shade to be a little bit darker than what we were doing, so I'm going to try and build it up just a little bit more. Once I get my brows on later, I am going to go back over the top edge of this and just kind of blend through it, just to make sure that there's no harsh lines. But since I don't have my brows on yet, I don't want to do that yet, just because I am going to be topping that with concealer. I haven't played with this palette too much since my first video. The colors are super pigmented. I know that there was like a whole thing about like James saying that you needed to use an actual primer instead of a concealer with this palette, but as you guys saw, I mean, I just primed with a ColourPop No Filter Concealer, and I think that it works really well. I mean, everything blends out on top of it. I didn't even set the primer or the concealer down. I just went straight in and started blending out the shadows on top of it, and it works perfectly. So I don't really know what the situation is with that. I do sometimes use my Fenty concealer or my Fenty primer with this palette, but I don't know. I don't feel like they really perform differently whether I use the primer or I use a concealer. And then next I'm going to take my JH33 brush, and I'm going to pick up the shade No Beans, which is this dark brown right here. And I'm going to focus that even lower than we just focused Code James. But again, if it gets down onto the lid a little bit, it's perfectly fine, just because we are going to go back through with concealer and cut the crease. And then I'm going to go back in with the JH32 that we were using, pick up Code James one more time, and just kind of go over No Beans a little bit more. So at this point, this is what I've got going on. I think I am going to go ahead and cut the crease now. So I am going to take the JH41, which is just like a synthetic, like rounded top brush, and I'm going to use the same ColourPop No Filter Concealer that I use to prime the lids, and I'm just going to put some of that on the back of my hand and pick it up on the brush. I want to create the cut crease the same, like winged out, like what I just did with the shadows. So I just want to make sure that I clean up all the way underneath it and like wing it out. Okay, so I've got both eyes on and I cleaned it up a little bit. So I'm going to take that same brush that we cut the crease with, which is the JH41, and I'm going to pick up this shade from the palette, and this is called Canvas. I'm just going to set that concealer in place because I am not going to be putting a shadow across the whole lid. I just want to keep this blank and see what I can create from this. This part does not have to be perfect because you can go in with a smaller detailed brush and really deepen up above the cut crease after you get this concealer set down. But you do want to make sure that you really get on top of all of that concealer just so that it isn't tacky because it will crease. I'm actually going to switch over and use the JH30 brush, which is just super fluffy, and I'm just going to pack a little bit more on this side. Like I said, it doesn't have to be super precise or anything just because we can go back over it, but that little brush is not really picking up that much color. So now I've got something like that, and I'm going to go in and just kind of clean everything up. So I'm going to take the JH40 brush, which is just like a really tiny brush, and pick up Code James and No Beans, and just kind of run over the top of where we cut that crease. So I think I actually want to see if I can create kind of a liner. I don't have a lot of colored liners, but I'm wondering if I mix together a matte shade on just a brush like this, or maybe even like this one, I would be able to create a liner. So I'm going to see what I can do. I think if I did like a yellow liner and maybe like added some glitter on top, it would be really cool. So I'm going to pick up the yellow shade in the James Charles palette and spray it with the Morphe Prep and Set. And I'm going to just kind of see if I can trace out a winged liner. Okay, now that I've got that on, I'm going to take just a makeup wipe and clean up underneath. And I'm going to do the same on both sides. So now that I've got that on, I think I'm going to pick up the shade Ring Light, which is the shade right here. And I'm just going to pick it up on the same brush that we've been using and just kind of like tap that on top of the yellow. I think having this be a little bit like sparkly and shimmery gives the look a little bit more like depth and a little bit more fun. Okay, so I've got that on, and then again I'm just going to take the makeup wipe and make sure that I get off all of Ring Light that accidentally got underneath the liner, or I guess the eyeshadow. Okay, so for primers today, I'm just going to use my normal primers that I use almost every day, the Urban Decay Quick Fix Primer and the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and spray on a little bit of this Quick Fix. So for foundation, I am going to go in with my Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Foundation. This is actually almost out, so I've got to take the lid off to get some on my face. I asked you guys in a poll on Instagram if you would want to see a 2018 beauty favorites, and some people said yes and some people said no. So I'm going to leave a poll like right here or right here. I'm not sure what side it's on, but I'm going to leave a poll and have you guys let me know if you would want to see that or not. I feel like that's something that's really common when it comes to like beauty Instagrams and like beauty YouTubes, but I don't want to do it if it's not something that you guys would want to see. So let me know, vote, and tell me if you guys want to see that or not. So I went ahead and sprayed my Morphe sponge with just a little bit of the Too Faced Hangover RX, and I'm just going to kind of press this foundation into the skin. Honestly, I was just a little bit too lazy to get up and wet this in the sink, but as long as it's damp with something, it does the same job. This is one of those foundations that I do feel like you really do need to use a sponge, even like how I just did with the brush and then go over it again with the sponge. It just really smooths everything out and makes you look a little bit more flawless. I just think the foundation is a little bit too matte, but on some days I do need a little bit more coverage and a little bit more of a matte foundation. So I'm going to go in with my two Holy Grail concealers. I'm going to use the Cover FX Power Plate and the Tarte Shape Tape. I'm just going to take Tarte Shape Tape and just kind of cover up the areas on the face that I don't want to highlight, but they need a little bit more coverage, which I don't really have that many today, but I'm just going to do that there. And then I'm going to take the Cover FX Power Plate and put that under the eyes. And now I'm just going to take this and blend out the concealer. I'm not going to get right against the lash line yet, and I just want to, because I want to use the flat edge to really clean up that edge of the shadow. So I'm just going to blend out all the rest and then go back in with the flat edge to get right against the shadow line. I do think I'm going to go in with the same brush that we kind of cut the crease with and just kind of really get into that inner corner. There is a little bit of that canvas, like that really pale shade that we used on this. And I just want to make sure that I kind of blend the concealer that's going in the inner corner onto the lid, just since it is all like the same color anyways. And I'm going to clean up underneath that line a little bit more, just to make sure that everything looks flawless. And then I'm just going to do the same on the other side. So I've really been liking using this Hourglass, what is this? The Ambient Lighting Powder. I have the shade Luminous Light, but I just take the same powder brush that I've been using and just kind of dust it across the face. Which I know everybody does not like this glowy of a look, but I don't know, I really like it. Okay, and then I am going to take the Urban Decay Beach Bronzer. Ever since I talked about this in my last video, which was like my makeup collection video, I've kind of been using this a lot more. I normally stick to palettes, but whenever I like use something a whole bunch, I just kind of get tired of it. And I've been using that Too Faced, what is it, the Natural Face palette, I think, like a whole bunch lately, and so I'm just kind of getting tired of it. And whenever I brought this out of my drawer, I was like thinking that maybe I should start using it again, because this used to be like my favorite, literally. And then, per usual, I'm just going to go in with my Kat Von D Shade Light palette, and I'm going to pick up this really ashy tone right here, and I'm going to be using the JH7 brush, and I'm going to contour my cheeks and also my nose. So now I've got my contour on, I'm just going to go in with this NARS palette. I'm going to pick up the JH4 brush, which is just a angled blush brush, and I'm just going to blush up the cheeks. I feel like this is the most universal blush ever. No matter what look you're doing, literally you can use this blush and it's going to look good. The shimmer in it really does like make your skin look so pretty. As you've seen, I mean, I literally just basically set my face with a highlighting powder. I love to have like that really glowy look, so this blush really does that also. And then for highlight today, I'm actually going to dip back into the Morphe palette, and I'm going to pick up the shade right here, which is called Face, and I'm going to highlight my face with it. I don't normally use this on my face just because if I'm using another palette, I don't want to get out this huge palette literally just for a face highlight, but every time that I use this palette, I always use this highlight, and I always wonder why I don't use it more because it is so pretty. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and do my brows off camera, and then I'll be right back to finish up the look. Okay, so I think I want to do something a little different and go in with green on the lower lash line. So I'm going to use my JH39 brush, and I've got two different greens that I'm looking at. So they might look the same on camera. No, they definitely look different. So this like brighter blue green right here is from the Emerald Obsession palettes from Huda Beauty, and then I have the shade Daddy, which is right here in the James Charles palette. I feel like the darker green from James Charles palette might look a little bit better just since there is yellow on the top. So I'm going to take the JH39 brush and pick up Daddy and just start to buff that onto the lower lash line. So I want to make sure to really focus the color right against the lash line and then buff out going further down just so that we can still see that color, but we don't have too much, like too dark far down. So I really can make your eyes a little bit smaller, or at least up here a little bit smaller. Now I'm going to pick up the JH32 brush that we've been using, and I'm going to mix together the yellow shade that we were using and Canvas, which is the tan shade that we put all over the lid, and then I'm just going to kind of buff that out. So this is what it should look like. So now I'm going to pick up the JH42 brush, and I'm going to pick up the shade Face, which was that first shade that we were using, and like the highlight shade we were using, and mix it with Canvas and spray it with some Morphe Prep and Set, and I'm going to put that on the inner corner. So then I'm going to do the same on the brow bone, but I'm just going to keep it right on the arch. I already highlighted the brow bone off camera with Canvas, so I just want to give it enough to just kind of give it a pop, but not too much that it's going to take away from the eye look. So this is the eyeshadow look all completed. I am actually going to apply the Eyelure Luxe Lash in the style Baroque. I'm not exactly sure. I'll link them in the description box down below. I actually just picked these up earlier this week, and I think I've worn them like 5 times already. They are so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and line the waterline with the ColourPop gel liner in the shade Swerve, and then pop on these lashes, and then I will be right back. And off camera, I went ahead and applied the Jeffree Star liquid lipstick in the shade Leo. I feel like it really complemented this look really well, just with the like orangey brown tones on the top of the cut crease. This is something totally different than what I would normally do, but I really just wanted to switch it up and do something a little bit different. But I really like the way that it turned out. I think these lashes really complement this look really well, just because they wing out just like the cut crease and the liner that we created. I really hope that you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. I really hope that you guys are liking all of the content that I am putting out for you guys. If you have any suggestions on any videos or anything that you'd like to see, make sure to leave it down below in the comments, or you can also head over to my Instagram and DM me or comment on any of my pictures there. I love all the feedback that I've been getting from you guys. It's really been helping me to create things that I know that you guys would like. So make sure to let me know what else you guys would like to see on my channel. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching. Bye guys. I'll see you back in my next video.